I just feel like that was very weird and very microaggressive because, like, I just don't understand how. First of all, my ideas made sense. Like, I wrote a thesis in undergrad. I studied political science, and I'm very capable. The thesis that I wrote in undergrad is still being used by my chair to guide the current cohort. So, like, as I said, like, I had a high GPA, like a decent GPA. Like, I'm a very smart person. Like, I've always writing has always been a strong suit of mine since high school, since elementary school. Like, that's just been a thing that is a thing for me. Like, it's not writing is not hard for me. Like, speaking is not hard for me. Like, and I'm not even trying to be cocky, but I'm just saying, like, for this man to be acting like that, it's just weird, and it says something about him because I'm a person that's um very confident in like my ability to like articulate myself, to express myself in a coherent way, in like a logical way. I think my reasoning skills are very strong. So, and that's something that I've there's been a continual comment throughout my schooling, like throughout my entire life. So like he's the odd factor. Like it's not me. It's not, something with me. It's he's the odd one out. Like if I've been having professors like laud my writing throughout my entire fucking education, like do you think it's something with my writing or do you think it's something with the person? But and then also what felt weird too with like this comment about it can't just be your opinion in terms of the thesis was so weird, and just felt like he was projecting his own issues with like his sexuality and like seeing a feminine man, because I present feminine and he presents like kind of masculine, or I don't know if that's just how he navigates religion and subverting himself. But um it like he I just felt like it was very weird, and it was very like just dismissive to try to say it can't just be your opinion, as if like I was someone who's just going to make meritless claims and just lollygag for 50 pages, because that's how long it has to be, about my perspective. Like it just didn't give any respect or like credence to the fact that like I've written a fucking thesis before. Like I'm smart. Like I'm smart. People know I'm smart. These professors in these classes throughout my like time here, a lot of them will like make comments about like I had a systematic theology class, and I was very much not gonna prescribe or like yield to their way of thinking and like doctrine. And I told this professor this because I was like I fought very hard to free myself from doctrine, and so like I don't think in terms of doctrine. I think in a much more contemporary way, in the way that I was trained in undergrad. And so this professor, even though like she said things in my narrative evaluation, she wrote very strong writing mechanically. Like his writing is strong. His writing was shown to improve in his weekly posts throughout the semester. It improved. Like so, even as these professors, like they've always said that consistently. Like even at this school, like it's not me. It's not me. And so I feel like, but I feel like that comment to say it can't just be your opinion, as if like also considering the fact that like I am like a queer man of color and there's not a lot of us here, and he also is a queer man of color, and like to think that I'm gonna lean on the scholarship that I've learned here that's been very colonial, and that I'm not gonna have different things to say. It was just very, it's just all of it was just very weird. It was just very weird because you're expecting me to lean on this scholarship and trying to like interrogate or dismiss, undermine like the value of my insight, as if like that's not something that they wanted diverse people to come here. There is value in our experiences because of the fact that they're not as as prevalent in academia, because of course we're not as represented in these spaces. And like there was just so much weirdness in that. But basically throughout the meeting, like I was just screaming at them and telling them certain things that I've been saying, like telling them like I have given so much to this institution and I'm fine with, I don't even know if I want a degree from here. I don't know what it means to have a degree. Like, does it match my brand and my integrity to have a degree from here? Like, just going off and telling this man, like, I told him I'm a grown ass man. I'm a grown ass man, because like there's also like like a lot of condescension and a lot of like people thinking because you're like a 20 something, or you're 24 or whatever, like you're a young person, like, and they're in their 30s or whatever, that they can be patronizing. And it's like let's hold on a little bit, because I've done the work of deconstructing and accepting myself, loving my identity, my queerness. I have circles, I'm connected to my community, and it's something that you haven't done. So don't be condescending because you have work to do. This has felt aggressive for me. Like, this is not, I'm good with myself, you're not. So I don't like, I hate when people try to use arbitrary things, like try to make arbitrary judgments based on like age, as if like that's the only indicator of maturity. Like, you have work to do, because clearly that's what's been coming up for you. That's what's been coming up in our interactions, is the work that you haven't done, and the fact that you're triggered by somebody who has actually done the work. Because as a feminine, unlike men who present more, gay men who present more normatively, like, I was pointed out when I walked into the room in the family function. I was pointed out when I walked down the block. I was pointed out when I speak in public. Sometimes people look at me because of the inflections in my voice, the facial expressions, whatever, the walk. Sometimes, like, I was never a person that could hide behind my identity, so I embraced my identity. I didn't have a choice but to embrace my identity. But yeah, it was very freeing to just scream at them, and to just, like, I don't even know if it was screaming, but I just know it was very, like, intense. Like, it's like, when like a parent is like, has like that kind of like grill in their voice, like they're like almost like the words are not fully coming out of their mouth, because they're just like, the way that they're like so like emphatically say it, like, you know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. If you know, you know. But that's what I feel like I was doing. I don't know, maybe I was screaming at some points, but he just stood there and looked like a sad puppy like the entire time. And it was just like, it's funny because sometimes I think, like, when you like just being like gay and laughing all the time, and being a person who's so like jokey, and like my voice is like, it inflects a lot and it's high sometimes, like, I think that there's a lot of like, it goes back to the masculinity thing, but like people just like, I think he dismissed that in a way. And it's like, there's levels to me. Like, please don't get it confused, because you might think that I'm oblivious or whatever, but I'm not. And like, I think a lot of the things that I've been through in my life, like the being gay, but also the traumas, I can see the dynamics. Like, I'm not impervious to a dynamic. Like, I'm not impervious to when someone's trying to play in my face. And so, like, I think, like, in that moment, like, he realized that, like, I was seeing game from get. And I was just, like, I feel like I just kind of suppressed everything and then just blew up in that moment. But it felt very relieving to let him know, like, you're not going to treat me in any type of way. Like, I'm well aware of my worth. I'm well aware of, like, what's been going on and the things that you've been doing. And I think that sometimes people want you to, like, be self-abasing in these institutions, or I don't know if self-abasing is the word. I think kind of, but like also what I mean is like emptying yourself. Like, they want you to completely empty yourself in these systems, and it's like, no, like, you don't deserve the things that I've had to navigate here. You don't deserve all of me. And like I said, like, just there's the things that are put on students of color, put on queer people, put on queer students of color. Like, there's just so much that I'm gonna be the person that says, no, this is my reserve, this is what I'm willing to give, this is what I've already given, and that's enough. And so yeah, I think like you have to have that inherent understanding of like your own worth, and like know when it's enough and when you're not willing to give anymore. And you have to really be okay with that, because that's what I feel like keeps coming up in all of these things, whether it's the thesis or the course or whatever. Like, optimizing things and moving things around and doing things to like make sure that like what I need and the energy that I have is honored. Because people do not care. People in these systems, they will allow you to empty yourself to like the point of sickness, to the point of being completely like resigned and like just, I don't even fucking desolate. I don't know what words to use. Like, they will literally let you get to that point, because I feel like that's what this meritocracy, that's how this world functions. But it's sad that like as people of color, like, not even these professors could have like empathy and understanding. But yeah, so I feel like really going back to that thing of like just feeling okay with whatever happens, and knowing, like, detaching myself from the experience, because I know my value, I know my worth, and I don't give of myself exceedingly. I'm not infinite, and so the energy that I give to something is never going to be infinite. And there's limits, and that is affected by what has been asked of me, and whether there's integrity in that, in what's being asked and how. And so, kind of to put the ribbon or to tie the bow on this whole entire thing, I think like all of this like has been making me think about how like people will intentionally contribute to harming you to the extent that you let them, and only to that extent. And you have to be the arbiter, and the you have to be the person, the that says, or the, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's like authority is a good word too. Um, but you have to be the authority of like when it surpasses your standard. Because if not, like I really think that's a recurring thing for me that I've learned too, is like in so many ways, like it'll be the smallest thing, like a hookup, and I don't like how you're texting me right now. Like I know it's just casual, but I don't like how you're talking to me as if like I'm not we're not I'm not exchanging we're not exchanging something between each other, and we're not, this body hasn't gotten me through thick and thin. Like this body is not the reason why I'm standing. Like this body is not the reason that I was able to fight. This body is not the reason that I'm here today. Despite fucking hell. Like, so it'll be like the smallest things, like maybe the way a friend responds to something, a conflict, or like, in like a favor that somebody's asking of you, or just the way people talk to you. And sometimes it's like also you have to be aware of like, how you're presenting. And because I think people really sense it, and it's sad that it's like the world we live in, but people really take the thermometer or the temperature of like, like how you are, and then really assess and expect things, or learn how to treat you based on that. So sometimes you have to check yourself as well. But I feel like it's so important to have that inherent understanding of that, because like people will really, if you don't, once I started to learn that lesson, I feel like I started seeing it everywhere. Like I was like, why is this person talking to me like this? Why are they texting me like this? Why are you asking me like to go out with you? Like if we've gone out and you've done things that I don't like, and I've made a boundary and you didn't respect that boundary. Just so many like subtle ways, and like sometimes it's big ways, but sometimes it's more subtle things. And like I wish they could come to mind right now so I could like list them all. But I feel like once you start doing that, because I think also when you come from like so much pain and so much like adversity in your life, you don't realize sometimes that like you're perpetuating those cycles, or like not perpetuating, but I would say, I don't know if it's like, I think like sometimes you attract certain people because you're like in a certain place yourself. Like maybe you're struggling, and you feel broken in certain ways or whatever, and so you attract those people. But yeah, I think like once you start to realize it, you kind of like, the onus is on you to kind of, or the onus to like break that cycle, and to start saying no. Like I'm gonna stay home today. Like yeah, there's that function, maybe it's your family or friends or whatever, but I'm gonna stay home. Oh, this person invited me out, but I'm just feeling like my energy, like I just want to watch TV. Oh, I don't like the way they're talking to me. I'm not going to answer the call, or I'm not going to respond to the message, or I'm not going to affiliate with that person anymore. I'm going to be dry with them. Like there's so many choices you can make. Like I feel like sometimes we kind of just fall into our programming, and we just kind of are on autopilot, but like you have to really be present enough to say like, no, I don't like that, and so I'm gonna deviate. I'm gonna choose an alternative action. I'm gonna start, holding myself in a certain way where like people start to realize your value, because you constantly like you're using your autonomy, and you're using kind of like, you're navigating in a way that shows that like you're not just, you know, resigned or just accepting anything. Like no, like you're gonna think about it. You're gonna notice now. You're gonna notice that like there's a trend, and that you need to come correct, and you need to check yourself, or you're just not gonna like, you're not gonna have like whatever you want from me. You're not gonna get. You're not gonna have me as a friend or whatever, in whatever capacity. Because like yeah, going back to even like, it's like different things, but even with school I was realizing that like, and it's all ways that are interconnected, like that you allow your suffering, you allow your value to be reinforced, either in a negative way or in a positive way. Like I didn't have to take the Bible course. I wasn't like, it wasn't a compulsive thing. I didn't have to do the thesis during the semester. I didn't have to tolerate my professors being toxic, my thesis readers.